What kind of tile can you put on the wall or shower? Do you have to seal tile? How much extra tile should I buy for my project? What thin set is the best for my tile application? How hard is it to maintain natural stone? You have questions, we have answers. Welcome to the BELK Tile Podcast. How to style the bathroom, the backyard, the kitchen. How to improve your home style with tiles to make your home absolutely beautiful. Welcome to the BELK Tile Podcast. Here's your host, Mike Belk.
Hey, tile fans, welcome back to the BELK Tile Podcast. I'm Mike Belk, and as always, I'm here with Abby.
Good morning, everyone. Mike, I am missing the cooler weather.
For sure, Abby, it was great fall weather coming in, and now we are back into the high 80s.
I agree. Fall is my favorite, and I thought we were getting close.
I do not think so. I think we are having a little Indian summer right now. Well, today we're tackling one of the biggest risks for any DIYer, common tile mistakes and the pro tricks that keep your project looking flawless instead of, well, costing you big time.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot. Tile can absolutely make or break a space, and it's wild how one little mistake, like skipping a step or grabbing the wrong product, can turn your dream room into a DIY disaster. So we're going to break down the most common tiling mistakes folks make, and yeah, exactly how the pros avoid them. If you're getting ready to tile, you want to listen to this one.
And we're going to hit on it all: prepping surfaces, adhesives, picking your layout, grout nightmares, even those expansion joints no one talks about until stuff starts popping. Oh, and, my favorite, knowing when to put down the trowel and call in a pro. We're not just throwing shade at DIY, but helping everyone who wants to do it right.
Totally. Let's get into these mistakes, so maybe your next project ends with proud photos on Instagram, not a call to fix a cracked floor 6 months later.
All right, first up, skipping surface prep. I mean, this is the classic one, right? I've lost count of how many times I've walked in on a job where someone tiled right over a dirty or uneven surface. Or worse, someone went for it over bare plywood in the shower. I kid you not, Abby, that setup didn't make it a year before the tiles started falling off the wall.
Yeah, and that's not rare. If your subfloor or wall isn't clean, level, and dry, game over before you even start. People underestimate just how much unevenness, a little dirt, or leftover adhesive can sabotage you. I always tell clients, start with a clean slate, literally. Get in there, use a long level, fix those dips with patching compound or self-leveler, remove grease, get the surface pristine. It's boring work, but honestly, it's the difference between tile that lasts years and tile that fails before your new towels are out of the package.
And don't skip that underlayment, especially in wet areas. Cement board uncoupling membrane, something that protects and stabilizes the tile. In a bathroom, you need a waterproof backer board, and I mean waterproof, not sort of waterproof like regular drywall. That detail matters. Skimp on it, and yeah, hollow-sounding tiles, cracks, water damage, sometimes all three at once.
Which is so avoidable. Plus, prepping right means you'll have fewer headaches with lippage, like where one edge sits higher than the next. That's a toe stubber, and visually, you'll notice those every time you walk in. Anyone thinking about a tile project, don't rush surface prep, please. The payoff is so worth it. Okay, so let's stay on prep, but move into adhesives and materials, because using the wrong stickum for the job or grabbing a bargain brand thin set, that's another way to sabotage a great tile. Mike, you must have stories about mastic in all the wrong places.
Too many, Abby. For folks listening, mastic's okay for some walls, dry areas, you get the idea. But use it in a shower? It's not made for the moisture, and you'll get loose tiles and mildew faster than you think. Always check if you need thin set or mortar, especially for porcelain, glass, or stone. And don't rely on whatever the hardware store has on sale. Actually make sure it's the right spec for the tile and surface you're working with.
And the trowel, using the wrong size trowel, too small for those bigger tiles, means you won't get proper coverage. Ever notice that hollow sound under a tile? That's from incomplete bonding. You want good contact. I always tell DIYers, match your trowel to your tile size and read the bag. Or honestly, just ask for help if you're not sure. That 5-minute question saves you hours of repairs.
One more thing, back butter those large tiles, especially if they're, say, bigger than 12 by 24 inches. Dab some mortar on the back, then set it. And mixing? Stick to the instructions. Don't eyeball it with water. It's all these small steps that build up to a pro finish.
All right, can we talk about the layout disaster zone now? Let's just start in the corner. I hear that so much, and it's like, no, please don't. Not dry laying first is probably one of the top regrets I hear later. I mean, you always want to know how your tiles will land so you don't end up with, I don't know, a 2-inch strip running down the wall on the other side because you didn't center the design.
That's true. Laying out your tiles before you start sticking them to the floor is such a pro move. You see potential issues, you avoid skinny cuts at the end, and you can adjust before things get messy. Always start from the focal point, not just the doorway, but wherever your eye is first drawn. That could be a tub or the fireplace or right in the center of the entryway.
And spacers. Why does everyone want to skip using spacers? They keep your joints even, and trust me, you can't eyeball it and get a good look. Use them. Also, measure, then measure again. I'm always channeling my old shop teacher here. Measure twice, cut once. That one tiny little moment of patience saves your whole layout from looking off.
And if you want a pattern, herringbone, chevron, whatever, plan it out. A dry fit or even some blue tape mock-up can save you. We talked about layout a lot back when we did the fireplace episode, right, Abby? Same stuff applies, just bigger scale, more cuts, same need to actually think ahead and visualize.
Right, the wow factor is always in those details, the symmetry, the balance. Planning ahead is literally your free secret weapon for professional-looking tile.
Let's get into grouting, because this is where a lot of projects go off the rails. Pick the wrong grout or go too fast and boom, cracked lines, stains, and water sneaking under your tiles. Seen it more than I care to admit. And if you don't seal cement-based grout after curing, especially in a bathroom, it's like leaving your door open during a rainstorm. Stuff's gonna get in.
Yes! And it's so tempting to rush. People are impatient, they want to finish, but if your adhesive hasn't cured and you start grouting too early or you wipe the lines too soon, it'll mess up both the appearance and the function. Speaking of disasters, one of my clients picked a bright white grout in her kitchen and called me a week later like, "Why did it turn gray already?" It was because she used the wrong type and wiped it down too soon. The tile dust got into the grout lines and stained everything. Total bummer.
And the joint size matters too. Sanded, unsanded, or epoxy, all different uses. Large joints you need sanded, smaller go unsanded. Wet areas go epoxy if you can, or seal your cement grout. Don't try to cheap out on this stage. Sealant isn't optional. It's essential for longevity and stain resistance.
Yes, and clean up as you go. Excess grout, if left on the tile, needs a chisel or some heavy scrubbing later. The best time to clean is while it's still workable. So take your time, follow instructions, and don't jump ahead. That's where DIYers fall down. Okay, quick but super important topic, expansion and movement joints. This is one that gets skipped a lot because it just sounds technical or maybe not a big deal, right?
Yeah, but here's what actually happens. Tiles expand and contract with changes in temperature and humidity. If you tile right up to the walls or leave zero gap in larger spaces, the tile has nowhere to move. Then it cracks, or you get tiles tenting, lifting clean off the floor in the middle. Sounds weird, but I've seen it more often than you'd think.
What should folks do? Simple. Always leave a small gap, think 2-3 millimeters, at the perimeter and any place where tile meets a different surface. Fill those with flexible caulk, not grout. And in larger rooms or long runs, add a flexible expansion joint every 15 feet or so. Even pros mess this up if they get lazy.
It makes a giant difference in durability. You don't even see these joints when they're done right, but you sure notice when they're missing. Seriously, if your tile starts making weird hollow sounds when you tap it, or you see cracks for no apparent reason, odds are this is the culprit.
And that brings us to our last point, knowing when to call in the cavalry. I love a good DIY story, honestly, but I've also seen too many people take on these massive projects like curbless showers, heated floors, or complicated patterns, and then get overwhelmed and, a bit embarrassed to ask for help.
Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with wanting to save money or learn new skills. The issue is when you underestimate what's involved. Pros aren't just getting paid to sweat. There's a lot of technical know-how, planning, and frankly, thousands of hours of mistakes behind what looks easy. Sometimes hiring a professional isn't actually more expensive if you factor in time, materials lost to practice, and the cost to redo work that goes wrong. I tell people, know your limits, and if you're even a little unsure, have a pro at least check your plan before you start.
Yeah, and reach out for advice. We even said in our last few episodes, right, especially when it comes to tricky materials or high traffic spots like shower floors or entryways. If the stakes are the integrity of your wall or not flooding your main bathroom, play it safe and invest in expertise.
Believe it or not, it doesn't hurt anyone's pride to ask for help. A little guidance early on saves a pile of tiles and cash later.
So let's run back through the big points. The most common DIY tiling mistakes: bad or rushed prep, wrong adhesive or trowel, not laying out first, skipping spacers, grout errors, ignoring the need for expansion, and thinking you can always just figure it out on the fly.
Core lesson: prep, patience, and the right materials are non-negotiable. Give yourself the space to do each step well. Don't guess on anything crucial. Ask for advice or check reputable sources. Spend a little more time and attention now, and you'll enjoy that floor or wall for years instead of months.
And hey, we've got a downloadable tile prep checklist up on the site if anyone wants to save some heartbreak. Go get it if you're thinking of tiling soon.
All right, that's a wrap for today. If you're planning any tile project, hopefully now you've got a better path to gorgeous, long-lasting results. Subscribe here for more real-world tile wisdom every week.
Thanks for listening, y'all. Share this episode with a friend gearing up for their first tile project. They'll thank you. And send us your before and after photos. And don't miss next week. We're deep diving grout colors and how that one little decision can give your room a whole new vibe.
Looking forward to it, Abby. Thanks for all your tips and stories today. Take care, everyone, and happy tiling.
Bye, Mike. Bye, everyone. See you next time.
You've been listening to the BELK Tile Podcast. When it comes to creating a beautiful home using tile, this is the podcast for products, design ideas, and tips. We hope you got some useful, practical information from this show, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, reach out. The website is www.belktile.com. Our store phone number is 614-543-8334. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at BELK Tile and on Instagram at BELK Tiles. Make sure to leave a rating and review. And if you have questions or comments, reach out. And we'll talk about it on the next show. Till next time.